So what's up? I got Derrick Brown here, man. DB, we all know the way your season ended last year, and we know that's not something that you really want to look back on. But what are some of the things that you feel like you have learned and that you have been able to grow from being out all of last year, pretty much?
I think it was one of those things where, it was just, learning to go through adversity. I played this game for basically almost 20 years, and worst I had was a sprained ankle. So, for that to have happened to me and, for that to be the injury, I took it in stride, and it's been one of those things that, I think mentally it was a game at first, being out in L.A. where I had the surgery, just sitting there in the room, couldn't go nowhere, do nothing, felt like you trapped. And then, kind of just getting back here to the East Coast, being back around my teammates, being back at home around my kids, it was that made a big difference, to say the least.
You had one of the best seasons of a D tackle in NFL history. We know that you still are the tackle leader for D tackles in NFL history, so congrats to that.
Appreciate it.
Congrats on that. But what are some of the things that you sat back and you watched the D-line go through last year?
A lot, man. We lost a few games that came down real close at the end, and I tell everybody I was excited when I was able to get back on the sideline. They don't let you down there with crutches, so when I was able to be down there and just kind of tell them and let them know what I see, like being able to give them that advice, like being able to tell them that, but then also look forward to come back this year and stopping that.
So, how excited are you with the moves that were made? Because me personally, I've been raving about the moves that Dan Morgan has made. In particular, during free agency is where it all started at. And then after free agency, to go into the draft and bring in some really, really high value, high quality players. How excited are you for your new teammates and the guys that you have playing next to you? How excited do you have these guys on the team?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely liked everybody that got brought in. I think we got a damn good team right now. So I think, the sky's the limit, but it is what you make it. You know what I'm saying? We get to go through training camp, OTAs, and building. When we brought in my group, Bobby, Turk, you got guys. And then the one thing about it is I love that when we bring in guys, man, they just go to work. Like, we get ready to go to practice, like, it's not the complaining or, if you got money, acting like you got money. It's just we want to work. Like, we got a goal ahead of us. And I feel like we got 6, 7 guys, 8 guys in our room that could do that. I want to be able to play every snap, but I know I got to relax. But then, just to be able to, have faith in the room, that's the big thing for us. And, I think we got that. And, I look forward to being able to have that, not only that rotation, but, like, being able to, have those guys, the level of play not drop if somebody's going to come out of the game.
With you being one of the leaders on the defensive side, and we just talked about, the struggles that the defense had last year, what are some of the things that you're trying to impress upon this defense? What are some of the things that you guys are trying to build and make a standard for this defense?
I feel like that first drive, right? It's got to be a set-the-tone drive. I feel like sometimes we come in here and we walk through it, trying to get a feel for the game. And, it's going to be like that sometimes. But, just going out trying to set the tone early will alleviate a lot of problems in the back end. So, it's one of those things where, I want us to come out and just get it rolling, not worry about nothing, just play ball. Like, that's the message. Just play ball. Like, let's attack the ball, get the ball, and do what we got to do. Nobody wants to think about the defense from last year, right? We had a lot of missing pieces, and no excuses that, the standard. And, I think coming out this year, we wanted to show that.
Yeah. So we all got to see the way Bryce finished last season. As a defensive player, sitting over there watching your offense go out and put up that kind of production and have those kind of numbers, does that make you overly excited coming into the season when you know that all we got to do as a defense is just go out and stop people and get the ball back to them and they can make some special things happen? How excited were you guys defensively knowing, like, we have an offense that can score now?
Man, hell yeah, it matters because, your offense scoring a lot of points and you stopping people. That's a lot of pass rush. So
Exactly.
that's
Opportunities, right?
All opportunities, and that's how you get paid. So it's one of those things that being able to see not only the offense but like to see Bryce go through what he went through last year, and be able to come out and still produce at a high level. Nobody knew what was going to happen when that thing shook out, and credit to Andy for stepping in there and getting the job done, and then Bryce come back in and playing at a high level. I'm excited. I'm excited to see what goes into this season, how the offense comes out, and I hope they keep rolling just like back in January.
Yeah, that's good stuff. So final question, right? So I know that we always talk about being more than an athlete.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw where you have decided to really dive in on the business side of things. What made you want to do that, and where did that passion and that mindset come from in wanting to be more than just an athlete?
Yeah, man, I always believe in opportunity, right? We have this great platform, and, a lot of people want to do things with us. And, I believe in taking advantage of all of it. Never forgetting what pay the bills, though. It's bread and butter. But, you find all the time in these professional relationships that, they understand that. So, if it's not a conversation we want to have before the end of July, hey, go do what you got to do, and we'll pick this up in January, February, hopefully, and, go from there. And, honestly, the real estate stuff it's been cool, man. I love seeing, pulling up, seeing dirt, and then next thing you know, it's somebody's house. And, seeing that go from the ground up, that's one of those things that, I love to see. Like, it kind of it excites me. It gives me something away from the game because, it's one of those things where, I feel like in life, I grew up in a 3-bedroom, 2-bath apartment. So, really, I didn't have a house of my own really until later on in college.
Yeah.
So, that's one of those things where now to be able to do that, I got a lot of passion for that.
Man, I love it. I love the things that you're doing, and I'm looking forward to seeing you back on the field this offseason, man. So thank you for stopping through, dude.
I appreciate it, bro. Yep.